Shalom, brothers. As you can see in the title here, especially on the thumbnail of the video, it reads half Japanese. At the very bottom of the screen, it said, "What's it's like growing up half black in Japan?" And what we have to understand is look at this beautiful sister here, and she's beautiful because, you can see that she's an Israelite, right? And us, now that we got that wisdom and that knowledge, we understand what has occurred here and why is she in the state that she's in, right? Because we understand according to scripture, not only were we scattered into all four corners of the earth, but we also took wives of the other nation and produced children from that union, right? Nehemiah chapter 13 verse 23. Moreover, in those days I saw men of Judah who had married women of Ashdod, Ammon, and Moab. Half of their children spoke the language of Ashdod or the language of one of the other peoples, and did not know how to speak the language of Judah. And what we're going to see here is a prime example of that, right? Listen closely.
なんかどんな感じでした？それは小学校とか中学校とかどんな感じでした？
It was the crazy experience because I was stopped by the police in Osaka, in the hometown.
だから自分もその高校生の時代はストレートパーマ当てて前髪作ってたんですよ。
Hey guys, how you doing? I'm Takashi from Japan. Today I'm going to interview half Japanese, half black in Japan. I interview people who raised in Japan, but at the same time I interview someone who raised outside Japan. So I hope you enjoyed it. So previously I made a video about this topic, half Japanese people. I made many videos about this topic. So if you haven't checked it, please check it first. Okay, let's find out today. On my channel, I interview Japanese people and foreigners in Japan. So it's the best channel for anyone who wants to come to Japan without traveling or living. And you can also learn Japanese here. So if you haven't subscribed yet, please subscribe to my channel. And on my Instagram, I show my daily life in Tokyo and share information about Japan. So if you haven't followed yet, please follow it too. Okay, let's get started.
Okay, so this is his specialty, interviewing these sorts of individuals. However, this is a prime example again of living, breathing examples of scripture coming to life, right? Let's let it play here for a second.
ありがとうございます。
ありがとうございます。お願いします。
ありがとうございます。自分のバックグラウンドとかを紹介してもらっても大丈夫ですか、最初。
はい、アメリカと日本のハーフなんですけども、アメリカで生まれて5歳ぐらいの時に日本にお母さんと一緒に来て、そこから全部義務教育とか大学まで日本で過ごしました。
なるほど。なんか
And the reason I wanted to stop there, I'll stop it right there, brothers. But Nehemiah 13 and 24 again, half of the children spoke the language of Ashdod or the language of one of the other people and did not know how to speak the language of Judah. So again, man, it's just scriptures jumping off the pages here. What I'm going to do is I'm going to speed up to the second person he interviewed, which is a brother. Let me rewind it back a bit, right about. The brother said something very interesting that I want to make sure that the viewer captures here, right? Let's listen.
My name is Kai. I've been living in Japan for 3.5 years, and I was born and raised in Brooklyn, New York City.
And your mother is?
Oh, my mom is Japanese from Osaka, and my father is Haitian.
Asian. Have you visited Japan often?
Yeah.
All right. So you heard who his father is, right? Of course, we as the men of Israel, your lineage is always determined by whom? Your father, right? But let's get some more examples of how this occurred and or when it occurred. It occurred also in the book of Judges, right? Judges chapter 3 verse 5. The Israelites live among the Canaanites, the Hittites, the Amorites, the Perizzites, the Hivites, and the Jebusites, right? What did they do? They took their daughters in marriage and gave their own daughters to their sons and served their gods. Let me see, man. Let me see if I could, let me see something here real quick, brothers. Let me see, get rid of that. Let's see if we can. Japanese. right? Let's see if we can also pull up a photo here, right? So Japan, the Japanese or Japan's, as we can see here, this is a quick overview. They have, the warrior god, right? Who is the Japanese main god, right? Kami is the Japanese word for a deity, divinity, or spirit. It has been used to describe mind, God, supreme being, one of the Shinto deities. So it says one of the deities, right? And efigi, a principle, and anything that is worshipped, right? More importantly, let me see. How many gods do the Japanese have? Just trying to get a little quick information here to, add more value to the lesson. Kami are the divine spirits of Japan's native religion. Shinto, according to Japanese folktale, there are 8 million kami. So that's 8 million gods. A number considered synonymous with eternity in Japanese traditions and culture. You will encounter various monuments devoted to several gods of ancient Japanese mythology throughout Japan. Wow. Okay, so let's get back to the scriptures, right? So not only do we see here, just in a quick search, that not only will we speak the language of the other nations, but we would also serve their gods. And we see that they have 8 million gods, man. Come on, man. Now let's go back to the interview here. All right.
Yes, I've visited Japan quite a bit. I've been here like 5 or 6 times,
But not every year.
not every year. And then I used to come by myself.
Now you live in Japan. So this time you came here to live in Japan, right?
Yes.
So what was the reason?
The reason was I really wanted to learn Japanese and learn more about the culture, because before I came here, during college, I used to work at a Japanese antique shop. I fell in love, and I was like, I have to learn. Also,
the reason I wanted to stop the interview there is simply because, and also our people back then were falling in love, as he said, we're going to use his words, with these other gods, these other nations, these other nationalities, and their God, and their customs, and their ways. Okay? All right? Now what I want to do now is of course, I want to go back to scriptures, man. Psalms 106:35. But they mingled with the nations and adopted their customs. What did that young man just say to you? Okay? Man, it's like the scripture is just jumping off the pages here. Let me speed up to when he interviews this last sister here. Let me start it about there. Right? And he starts off telling her, thank you for your time today. Let's let it play here. Listen closely to what she says.
じゃあ、ありがとうございます。はい。じゃあ、最初にバックグラウンドとか紹介してもらってもいいですか？
はい。ライムと申します。今25歳で、父がナイジェリアで母が日本人のミックスです。
So, we'll stop it there. She says, my father is Nigerian and my mother is Japanese. The brother before him said that his father was from the islands as well. So more than likely their fathers were either from the house of Levi or Benjaminites, right? Or potentially from the house of Judah, okay? Right? So how do we know? More mixing occurred just throughout the scriptures. Ezra chapter 9 verse 2. They have taken some of their daughters as wives for themselves and their sons, and have mingled the holy race with the people around them. Okay? First Ezra chapter 8 verse 70. For both they and their sons have married with their daughters and mixed the holy seed, before it called us the holy race, is mixed with the strange people of the land, brothers. And this is a result of that, okay? You have to understand, all of us are not black. We're mingled in with the other nations. Many of us have taken on the customs of their ways, brothers. This, and for those of them that's even mixed in among the nations, and they hear the gospel truth, right? They hear the good news, right? It's going to activate them. It's going to wake them up. As the scripture says, these are those that will come out of the great tribulation. Okay? Shalom.